Hey, we're live. Look who's with us from the start. Mindy decided she wanted to say hello to everyone and get some attention. Yes, she did. So here we are. Yes, 4th of July. Big day for, well, most Americans. I think some don't like what the day symbolizes, but hey, that's, to each their own is the thing. And hello, Luke and Fox of Fate and Justin. Nice to see you. Mimsy says hello too. My pineapple juice. Pineapple, coconut, and lemonade. The very summer drink. It's on a very winter day, but I'm having a very summer drink anyway. And hello, musical aviator, Soch and Mitchell Mace. I realize some people don't like their name being abbreviated or turned into a nickname. Proper Wolfie, hello, good evening. One that I was really surprised how pissed off he got. His username was Ed with 2 D's, and I started calling him Double D after the character in the really bizarre sort of noughties cartoon, Ed, and Eddie. And geez, there was some weird stuff on Cartoon Network about 15, 20 years ago. Honestly, I did not like a lot. A lot of people sort of Ed and Eddie's weird. I never got into it. I didn't like it. I never liked Johnny Bravo. Liked the Powerpuff Girls. What else was on Cartoon Network at that time was good? Like Pokemon. SC Music Elevator. I never got into Courage the Cowardly Dog either. A lot of people really like it. I got into Dexter's Laboratory a little bit. Samurai Jack was just great. That was fantastic. Yeah, and not that it was really well. It technically was a kids' cartoon. Ren and Stimpy was very weird. Mimsy's gone. No, you can't go up there. You'll knock. No, Chuck says no. Don't go up there. Bad Mimsy. Bad Mimsy. Chuck says no. Don't go up there. Don't go climbing on the kitchen sink and there's too many plates and stuff. Oh god, now she's pissed off. No, you'll knock something over and break it, you shit. Hi, Kaiju. Mitchell, are there too many American TV shows in Australia? I don't know that we can control that. There are certainly a lot of American TV shows. Justin, I wouldn't be surprised that there was weird conspiracy theories around those cartoon shows, because taken just at surface level, they were very, very weird. Very weird. I need to go over here. There's only American TV shows and the ABC. I mean, it sounds like I'm trying to either be a hipster or a snob or something, but I basically never watch anything on the commercial free-to-air channels. I do watch some stuff from the ABC, some stuff from SBS, some stuff from Foxtel, some stuff from Netflix. Look, talking about Australian shows, there's kids shows. Someone's always got to bring up Around the Twist, which I don't think I ever watched. I think I was too old for it, and my kids were too young for it. So it was just generationally wrong for me to have seen it. I remember doing road trips with some friends, with some other YouTubers, going out on the Great Ocean Road, and we always have to stop at the lighthouse that was where no, Mimsy, no, the lighthouse where Round the Twist was shot. No, Chuck says no. Come back here. Stop being a shithead. Come back here. Yes, no. This is your seat here. Come here. God, she's so annoying. Oh yeah, just I think I have seen that one. bizarre theory that the characters from Ed, and Eddie were all dead, but from different eras of time. I have to admit, whenever I see one of those clickbaity things like this fan theory about Sabrina the Teenage Witch will blow your mind, normally I don't read them because I used to read it and they're always dumb as shit. Like, they take one or two things that have an interesting weirdness about them and extrapolate them out to an absurd degree and ignore 50 things that are right in front of your face that contradict their wacky theory. I mean, people want to do it, go for it. I'm not going to begrudge people having weird flights of fancy. But yeah, clickbaity articles, not a big fan of. So I normally don't go for. Yeah, I don't know about anyone else. Does anyone else shout at their computer? I'll be sitting there and I'll read an article and normally annoyed with myself by getting sucked in by a clickbaity title. And then I sit there going, no, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. And I proceed to tell my computer why that mind-blowing fan theory is just dumb as shit. And my computer pays no attention. So I should have learned from that. I was thinking of dumb shit. Like, the thing I've been talking about this week were the lies around the fascist marches and the anti-fascist response in Portland in the US on the weekend. And the number of fuckwit centrists to centre right to extreme right cockheads who think they're making a really insightful comment by saying, oh, if you use violence to fight fascists, that makes you the fascist. And I was like, it doesn't. It's like that statement's made by, well, I was going to say one of two groups of people. I can think of three groups of people. One is just profoundly ignorant people, just people with no historical knowledge, no concept of history. The second is actual fucking fascist sympathizers. And the third is glib, privileged wankers who cannot conceive of these neo-fascists, white supremacists, neo-Nazis ever coming after them. So, of course, because the fucking fascists aren't coming for them, they can't conceive of the fascists coming for anyone. And so when someone wants to smash the fash, they go, "That's not acceptable." It's like, you know what? Cleverly worded arguments, debates in the public square do not stop fascists, okay? They don't stop totalitarians of any stripe, no matter what they claim their politics to be. When someone has a core ideology that's about the eradication of a group of people simply because of who they are, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Daniel, I remind you of your Italian friends. I do use my hands a lot too. I see, Fox, now you're trying to freak me out that my computer will talk back to me one day. I'm afraid I can't let you read that, Angry. That would be a fun AI to have on your computer. Wonder if you're someone like me who gets pissed off at clickbaity shit. Next time you click on one, it actually talks to you and says, you always get really angry when you follow links like that. Are you sure you want to do it? Kaiju. Has it come out who the guy was who beat the shit out of No, I don't. Well, several people. I still haven't seen anything. If anyone has seen more information, I'd be interested in hearing it. I haven't seen anything that justifies the way Andy got the shit beaten out of him. He is an asshole. He validates fascists. He basically provided a kill list for the neo-Nazi group Atomwaffen, who've gone around making credible death threats against journalism because of what this shithead has done. But in that specific instance, I haven't seen anything that, because he really got fucking smacked. I haven't seen anything that justifies that at this point. Now, mind you, someone who has been getting death threats because of him would probably disagree with me and probably says, "Get down, stop it! Oh my god, you are such a shithead. You are shithead cats. Am I right? Am I right?" See, that's what I want to know, Proper Wolfie. What was he doing, saying immediately before that bit of video that we've seen? And I want to know that because I mean, okay, for instance, there's another one. The innocent old man with the blood all over his face. That piece of shit had one of those fucking telescoping batons that he bought specifically to start shit, and he went some people who were not doing a goddamn thing, and then he got smacked like he fucking deserved. And these absolutely fucking disingenuous people. This is the worst one I've seen. There's probably worse. There's this absolute fucking bootlicking stooge, Michelle Malkin. She posted the picture of this guy with the blood over his face, saying, "Oh, this guy, he was trying to help a gay man in a sundress being chased down the street when he was unprovoked attacked by Antifa." Just the central ridiculousness of that. The concept that the Antifa people see someone helping an obviously gay man and they go, "You know what we should do? We should beat them up." That lie is, with no other evidence, clearly a lie. It's obviously bullshit. It's obviously, I don't need to see anything that contradicts it. In and of itself, at face value, it's obviously complete fucking bullshit. But there's photos and video of this guy going people. He's got this fucking telescoping baton, and he just decided to go some people because, they were fucking lefties, Aussie, and he got fucking snotted like he deserved. Now, him, I have no qualms at all about. That motherfucker went out with the meditated idea of attacking anti-fascist people. Fuck him. Fuck him in the fucking neck. And the fact that you get these people with a public profile spreading such obvious, extreme lies absolutely does my head in. Absolutely. Kaiju, who do you think wasn't an Antifa? I mean, it's literally impossible to tell, but I mean, okay, Andy got smacked by more than one person. I saw the video. 2 or 3 people hit him. And that's what I said. That was pretty full on. And like I said, I am yet to see anything that justifies that. But I also saw the video of the old guy who fucking started it and wanted to hurt people who weren't doing a goddamn thing, and he got what he fucking deserved. And it's like the people who were doing it as the people who are handing out the free milkshakes, because it's just become a joke. Like, humiliate the fash, make them look silly. They hate it when we throw milkshakes on. So those people handing out free milkshakes to people, and they were just having a laugh, and they didn't have masks on. They've been doxxed, and they've been getting constant harassment and death threats from fucking Nazis. And it's like, well, are the police doing anything about that? Have the police stopped spreading the blatant lie that there was quick drying cement in the milkshakes, that there was chemicals in them, so people who had them thrown at them got chemical burns. It's like, fuck me. Oh, Kaiju, I actually said that, or I made the video the other night. I think an actual statement of fact is various right-wingers, be it Adam Waffen or Proud Boys or some others, people who've infiltrated their group chats and have recorded them and shown them. It is a specific stated policy of theirs to dress up in black bloc gear and start shit to try and make black bloc look bad. And that's an actual stated purpose of that. And I think it's a legitimate question to ask. If you were going to do in your black bloc gear, you were going to hit a known public figure to try and make black bloc look bad, and you had to pick from the known public figures who are friendly to the white supremacist cause. If you had to pick someone to take one for the team, you might have a tendency to go for the gay Asian dude. I think that's an absolutely legitimate question to ask, because we know beyond doubt that's a tactic to infiltrate the protesters and do something extreme to discredit them. That's actually been a tactic of the fucking cops for years. You know, I'm old enough to have been in the anti-nuclear protests in the 80s, and that was something we were always told to look out for. Cops masquerading as agitators. And it's like the general rule is be with people you know, don't be alone. And if someone you don't know starts acting in an extreme way and you can't calm them down, like you fucking get away from them, disavow them, because it's too high a chance they're on the cop side. And but that's why you should go with people you know and stick with people you know, because it's too easy for the fash to fucking infiltrate everything. Yeah, I mean, everyone's known about this for ages, but it's so bizarre. Like, and I have to admit, the most chilling thing I've read, and this is also completely credible, this is from someone who knows more about these things than me, a big part of the fascists, I think under the fascists, I'm including the cops and the Trump regime in this, with the laws they're trying to introduce. A big part of the lie about cement in the milkshakes, caustic chemicals in the milkshakes, and that Proud Boys fuckwits who called the cops about suspicious packages and it was glitter. A big part of that is to trump up this idea of, oh no, the left is doing this dangerous thing, so they can preemptively act with extreme violence up to and including murder, which they've got a track record of, and say, oh, I had a credible reason to fear for my life. I murdered that person because they had a milkshake in their hand and I thought it was poison. That is an actual part of their tactics, which is very, very, very worrying. Daniel, do I know AIU? I do not. That is not a nomenclature I've heard of. I tried to do, okay, you might like this. I tried to do a Google search to see what showed up. Apparently, you're asking me about the Australian Institute of Ultrasound Training? No? Or the Atlantic International University? The American Intercontinental University. I think it's an acronym for a lot of dodgy internet universities. International Association of Universities. Oh God, proper Wolfie. You're absolutely right about the media just swallowing. Some have been better than others. I mean, even the left-wing media, I've not seen any being game enough to say anything beyond there is no evidence to support the assertion that there was quick drying cement in the milkshakes. It's like, fuck that noise. It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. They're just going, oh, I don't know, there's like a 1 in a million chance that there's something to it. We don't believe it, but we'll just say there's no evidence to support it. Fuck it. It's a lie. It's a premeditated lie. And it's absolute freaking bullshit. Proper Wolf, you think that guy's anti-feminist? Well, he'd hate me. I'm threatening to dox people. Fox of Fate with the dad joke. There's no concrete evidence that there was quick drying cement in the milkshakes. Safa, don't say bad things like Twitter has banned porn. That will make me sad. I'm looking that up. Not sure why you say, or did I misread that? And did you say Tumblr? No, Safa. Okay, I literally just searched Twitter bans porn, and there is no reporting on that whatsoever. So there may well be something in their terms of service, but there is no evidence that there's an active thing from Twitter banning porn. Unlike Tumblr, which took a massive hit from banning porn, I don't think that Twitter would actually suffer that badly. Uncle probably there's someone using power saw 2 gardens away and it's 24, so you can't close the window. Oh damn, that's not good. Safi, you say no spooge on Twitter. I saw spooge on Twitter today. The reality does not match what you're saying. I'm not saying they didn't put something in their terms of service that would let them ban accounts, but it's not actively happening. Dr. Palmer has Scummo's been balding. Stress might be getting to him. Maybe he just got a different haircut. Who knows? I honestly have not been paying a lot of attention to Scummo. Daniel, who's the left is a good leader? I don't get really actively involved. Yeah, leaders. I'd actually agree with Proper Wolfie that leaders is the wrong word, but people making good content, good thought-provoking content. You know, apparently there's a group who cross promote each other under the name BreadTube. But yeah, there's some bigger name channels like ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube. There you go, Proper H Bomber Guys, another one. 3 Arrows, I don't know. Kevin Logan, who is sometimes a guest on here, and I'm sometimes a guest on his live stream. Non-compete, I know, Proper Wolfie, that is a good list. Yeah. Oh God, Safa, how weird is it to have Alba? How shit is it with Alba? Like, how shit are Labor being at the moment? They're just like knuckling under to literally everything the Libs do. It's like they're fucking pathetic. And look, I know it's a long time till the next election, but out of the gate, Labor's been absolutely shit. Absolutely garbage. Ooh, Safa had to date. Nice. It went well. Ugh, yeah, no, proper for leftism is pretty grim here, definitely. I'm just astounded at how shit Labor's been since the election. Um, uh, it's just like they're fucking useless. Like they prior to the election, they like virtually everyone couldn't conceive of them not winning the election. So when they did, they've fallen to pieces. They don't know what to do. They think we shouldn't have any policies ever. We should just be Liberal Party light. That's what we should be. It's fucking pathetic. I know there are people with a spine in Labor, they're just not speaking up. It's fucking ridiculous. Probably maybe we'll get a Corbyn McDonnell paradigm. I don't know who McDonnell is. Um, as I said, virtually every time British politics have come up, I'm just going, it just confuses me. I want there to be a general election in England so I know what the majority of the English people want. Uh, people of Great Britain. What's God? The proper term is Great Britain, isn't it? Because the general election will include England, Scotland, and Wales and Northern Ireland. Uh, Dr. Rama, look, I hope Labor gets their shit together. The United Kingdom. Thank you, proper Wolfie. That is the correct term I should be using. They make it so confusing. Um, yes, the United Kingdom. That's a better word. Phrase, nomenclature. Fox, you reckon Scummo would love a Trump Kim Jong Un tanks and jets parade? Oh my god, uh, the that whole Trump parade thing. It's just like, how are people not embarrassed? I mean, how does anyone support him? I mean, I know the main reason. Well, there's like two groups. One is the people who see power and wealth gain by supporting him, and the others is the ones who just love having their bigotry validated by Trump. Um, but I just have so much trouble understanding how people aren't just straight up embarrassed by me. And yeah, probably like you, I've never um, understood the American jingoism, but Trump's at another level. Like he's anyone rational looking at Trump, the best possible thing you could say about him is he's embarrassing. Like his fucking ridiculousness is embarrassing. Uh, um, but they just straight up lie to themselves. They look at what Trump says and does, and they convince themselves the opposite is happening. And it's just like, it really does my head in that you can lie to yourself like that. It's like, fucking hell. Yeah, I think, okay, we're all going to agree that Biden is shit and shouldn't run against Trump for so many reasons. Like, again, just his politics is fucked. Biden's politics is fucked. I mean, you can go the old touchy sniffy thing, which is weird and uh, off-putting and not good. And I'd say don't support him just for that. But his politics is shit. Politics is terrible. Always has been, still is. Yeah, you're right, Fox. The Trump supporters aren't bootlickers; they're boot deep throaters. But it's not just the bootlicking. There's just this massive denial of what's right in front of them. And it's one thing is like, if you just said uh, Trump's in power and power is the only thing that counts, that's why I support him. Trump's validating my worldview. That's what we're doing. But the way they elevate him and say shit that's just not true. It's wild. Absolutely wild. See, there's too many of them to pay attention to. Proper, you're saying Hickenlooper is just pushing. Oh, I think I saw a grab from him uh, from the Dem debates, just going, if we don't distance ourselves from socialism, oh, that's what the Republicans will keep hitting us with. And it's like, fucking wake up, dude. They're going to hit you no matter. Justin, I would lean with you that Sanders or Warren would be my top picks. Daniel, who's got a? Oh, are we saying Trump's got a hot wife? Mail order boy. Yeah, look, I don't want to pick on his wife too much, but man, she didn't know what she was getting herself into, did she? Like, she's looked so unhappy since the thing happened. Dr. Obama. One of the Dems get Al Qaeda and Afghanistan mixed up. Like Al Qaeda, the group, and Afghanistan, the country. Really? Proper with you think Kamala will win? The fucking establishment would love Kamala Harris. She's she's such a fucking cop. Uh, and you could get your rah rah flag waving because you know she's a woman of color. But yeah, man, her fucking history as an authoritarian, not a fan. Absolutely not a fan. Ha! So how salty would Clinton be if Sanders won? That would be pretty funny, honestly. Oh, Dr. Obama, I know exactly why I don't like Kamala Harris. She was a literal cop, and then when she went into politics, she's just a fucking authoritarian. Um, I know exactly why I don't like Kamala Harris because she's a fucking cop. The establishment love her. Uh, but yeah, no, I'm definitely not on board with her. I just want I want the Democrats to narrow it down to um, maybe half a dozen because the current 20 is just fucking ridiculous. It's pointless even picking anyone in that crowd because again I've been reading stuff from pundits who follow this shit. It's like they keep pointing out that like 6-12 months out from elections, persons who look um, like a front runner end up disappearing without a trace. So yeah, trying to pick anyone now is pointless. Daniel, a great idea. Protect the ultimate minority. That's the individual. What do you think? Um, that's a bit much of an abstraction for me uh, because that phrase can be used very positively in as much as, hey, the government, the state, shouldn't fuck people over. You should have basic rights as an individual. But the same phrase is used by people who are basically fascists who say, oh, I shouldn't have to, be in a world where anything good is done for anyone but me. Um, so it depends. I guess I'm sort of leaning towards the John F. Kennedy line: "Ask not what your country can do for you; ask what you can do for your country." Without quite so much jingoism, but any phrase or philosophy can be perverted, and like I said, in simple terms, like an individual who isn't doing anything wrong shouldn't be subject to persecution because they fall outside any particular boundaries. But this whole worship of the individual thing is actively promoted by outright fucking fascists. So it would completely depend on how you are phrasing it from my perspective. Yeah, probably Ayn Rand stuff. Yes, it's not just toxic; it's very badly written as well. Ayn Rand stuff is just atrociously written, and you get all these fuckwits who are in love with the message. Being a selfish prick is great, so they worship it, and you just go, no, no, just objectively, this is bad writing. This is unengaging writing. This is shallow and trite solipsism. It's just uh, ridiculous how bad her fiction writing is. And people will hold up, my whole political philosophy is based on this work of fiction. Do you not hear what you're saying? You are saying you are basing your political and worldview on a piece of fiction. You, oh no, it sums up what I want with it. No, no, she creates ridiculous, false scenarios that just fulfill her wish fantasy dream shit, and it's because it's fiction. It's like that ridiculous shit has no place in the real world. It's absolutely ridiculous. Daniel, what about Aristotle? I am not greatly read up on Aristotle, and I would certainly hesitate to put any ancient philosopher at the center of my worldview simply because the world has changed so much since they were around. Core ideas of a lot of philosophies over the millennia can be useful, but yeah, if I heard someone saying I built my entire philosophy around the teachings of Aristotle, I'd have huge doubts about that person. Yeah, Kaji, that's a good way to put it. Ayn Rand was the Stephanie Myers of her time. It was just, yeah, fanfic for selfish pricks, basically. Oh, yes, CrossFitter. Aristotle was a bugger for the bottle. There's nothing Nietzsche couldn't teach about the bending of the wrists. Socrates himself was permanently pissed. The Monty Python philosopher's drinking song, by the way. For those who don't recognize it, I used to know it all. Immanuel Kant was a real pissant. He was very rarely stable. What was Heidegger? Heidegger, and there was someone who could drink you under the table. Yeah, you know what? Now I feel compelled to look that up. We're talking philosophy. I want the Monty Python philosopher song. It just shows they're all from university to do this. It's it was the Bruces. That's right, the Australian professors. The God, the Bruce is weird. Okay, this is the philosopher's song. Immanuel Kant was a real pissant who was very rarely stable. Heidegger was a boozy beggar who could drink you under the table. David Hume could out-consume Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, and Wittgenstein was a beery swine who was just as sloshed as Schlegel. There's nothing Nietzsche couldn't teach about the raising of the wrist. Socrates himself was permanently pissed. John Stuart Mill, of his own free will, on half a pint of shandy, was particularly ill. Plato, they say, could stick it away half a crate of whiskey every day. Aristotle was a bugger for the bottle, and Hobbes was fond of his dram. And Rene Descartes was a drunken fart. I drink, therefore I am. Yes, Socrates himself is particularly missed. A lovely little thinker, but a bugger when he's pissed. Some stuff is timeless, really. Dr. Obama, do I think the fact Albo's a divorced dad could lose him votes? No, that would win him votes with a lot of men. We had a single atheist woman shacked up with her bloke as prime minister. Albo being divorced won't hurt him at all. With a certain group of men would make him more popular. CrossFit at Ayn Rand's about as relevant as Harry Potter. I really like Kaiju's Stephanie Meyer, because for those who don't know, Stephanie Meyer wrote the Twilight books. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that Twilight actually started as fanfic. It was, no. I'm getting that backwards, aren't I? Fucking 50 Shades of Grey started out as Twilight fanfic, and it was really popular on some bulletin boards. And then a publisher convinced the writer, no, that storyline's really popular, but take it away completely from the copyrighted world of Twilight and set it somewhere else. And 50 Shades of Grey was born, and millions of women around the world read very badly written BDSM porn that people who are actually into BDSM really don't like, because when it's badly written, and it is dangerous as well. Safa Wood Oz, oh yeah, I think compulsory voting is very good. I mean, we still had quite a big chunk of informal votes in the last election, but oh Jesus, what the fuck is happening in America? The active voter suppression in America is outrageous. It's like it's fucking criminal, and it does my head in that they do that and get away with it. It's absolutely outrageous the way the Republicans gear things up to try and restrict the ability to vote of people that they don't think are going to vote for them. It's absolutely astonishing. Proper for y'all, they're trying to have voter ID laws in the UK as well. No, you should do everything in your power to encourage people to vote and place as few barriers in their path as possible. Uh, yes, well, see, that's kind of unfair. Dr. Obama, there's a belief that old people are more conservative, and it's basically true. Someone at Labor said they wished when you're too old to drive, you're too old to vote as well. Uh, yes, I understand the mentality. It's bad though. In all seriousness, uh, as soon as you start declaring certain people less fit to vote than certain other people, you're sliding into very, very dangerous territory. I forget who it was, someone with quite a high profile, was basically saying you should have to pass a basic intelligence test to be able to vote. And it's like, dude. As soon as you start imposing arbitrary limits and saying you don't deserve to vote and you do, that gets perverted straight away. Like, and besides the fact it's so fucking elitist, but just the perversion of something like that would be just too much. Yeah, probably fair. I don't know that this person said IQ tests, and IQ tests are useless. But yeah. Safra, am I more into local politics? What do you mean by local? Do you mean Australian, or do you mean like my local council? Because I don't even know who my local council is. Well, yeah, Dr. Bum, you could argue there are a lot of surveys that show the more educated someone is, the more likely they are to hold small L liberal views. The less educated and the less well traveled someone is, the more likely they are to be conservative. Safa, yes, okay. I think it's probably fair to say I'm more of a political tragic than the average Australian. I think that is a fair comment. I think musical aviator just heard the rubbish truck. Gonna run out and put the bin out. And Kaji's going get a Coke from the store. I've got everything I need here. I gotta make a 4th of July cocktail, really, don't I? I've got bourbon. It's a very American drink. Uh, peanut butter chocolate. I got one. I was at the supermarket earlier, doing real shopping, and look at the treats that are on special. And it was these Darryl Lee chocolate bars, the new ones they got that have lots of bits in them. I got the caramel one, has caramel fudge and crunchy caramel pieces in it. Yum. Proper woofy. Yes, the then Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott eating a raw onion was something special. That was very special. Very, very. He didn't even peel the brown bit off it. I mean, what the fuck? Can I make a red, white, and blue cocktail? I don't have anything blue. I think when I finish up my wait, no, I do have something blue. I could try and make a red, white, and blue shot. I've got blue, definitely got white, and I've got red. I could try. Oh yeah, Crossfire. I saw that Beam distillery burnt down. And I don't even remember what bourbon I've got. Is it Jim Beam or the other cheap one? Yeah, I was thinking of making something with bourbon. I'll look it up. What's a 4th of July cocktail? 4th July cocktail. What's a 4th of July cocktail? The red, white, and blue Skittles. Yeah, I could try and make a red, white, and blue drink. Here's the thing. Wait, what the fuck? I hate these fucking web. Oh, that's how you do it. Fucking web pages. Red, white, and blue sangria. Well, I'm not going to do that. Paleo drink. Good lord. The firecracker. Watermelon, lime, and cucumber. Well, I don't have that. That's right. I should put tequila and bourbon together to just, south of the border. Blueberry, strawberry mojito. Boozy's. No, this is going to be useless. Red, white, and blue. I could try and make a red, white, and blue drink. Dr. Barman, nostalgic for the how stupid the um, Abbott days were. Safa, oh, big question. Is Scummo stupid or just arrogant? He's arrogant and motivated by very frightening things. Ridiculous fundamentalist Christian ideology. He's very disturbing. Yeah, probably. Yes, I just want to complain about modern website design. I fucking hate when they make you click through 100 things. Oh, that's a nice analogy, Dr. Obama. Um, Abbott's such a clown, you can laugh at him, but Scummo's like Michael Bay Transformers movies, arrogant and stupid. So after I have gas, yes, I have gas heating and gas cooking and gas hot water. You want a boozy snow cone? I don't have anything boozy. Trying to think. Wonder if I could actually float. I need a spoon. I've got blue, red, white, blue. Blue at the bottom, white. And I'm trying to think which way to do it. All right, I'm gonna get a shot glass. Got a shot glass. Okay. Is gas expensive? Maybe. I. How much do I pay for gas? I don't know. Okay. Let's try. See if I can make. I've got blue vodka. Oh wait, this one's bluer. Blue. I've got so many white spirits. Tequila, I suppose, would be a good south of the border one. Oh, Dr. Obama, you think Tony Abbott should be repping the UN? That would be funny. What white spirit? Should I do tequila or something thicker? No, I think if I do the apple brandy, that would blend better. Not very American, but it is white. I gotta get this and my red absinthe, which is round here. Is it Jack? No, it's Jim Beam. Which was the distillery that burnt down? Was it Jim Beam? I've got Jim Beam. All right, I'm going to try and make a red, white, and blue shot. Blue on the bottom, I think. I need a spoon. I need to get a spoon so I can try and spread the pour out. So it doesn't mix. I don't know how well this would work, but I'm going to give it a go. Okay, so blue on the bottom. So from top to bottom, it'll be red, white, blue. All right, so just a little bit of blue in the bottom. Yeah, hang on. A little bit more, maybe. A bit more. A bit more. All right, now let's see if I can get a separate layer of. I bet it doesn't work. I bet it doesn't work. We'll try. Try and get a separate layer of white. No, it's not working. That's a failure. I don't think it's working at all. I'll try a little bit. No, I'm no good at that. It's something I haven't mastered. Pouring layers. Put a bit of red on top, red absinthe on top. A little bit of red on top. No, it's just it hasn't worked at all. It's purple, red, white, and blue. It's purple. I might make a cocktail with that. My attempt to layer a red, white, and blue drink failed completely. What can I make with that? Could put some bourbon to make it American. Maybe just make a whiskey sour. Yes, probably. The purple is the color of the red, white, and blue Star Spangled Banner when it's made cheaply in China and you wash it and all the colors run. You just end up with a purple flag. So Dr. Brown, make Murdoch, Reinhardt, and Packer reps on the Sun. Yes. Fire them into the sun. Okay, I've got that weird concoction there. I could add bourbon and make whiskey sour. I'm going to do another search and see if there's such a thing as make it a south of the border, a bourbon tequila cocktail. What recipes are there for a bourbon tequila cocktail? Oh, here's one. Cocktail that proves whiskey and tequila get along just fine. Okay. The hairy lobster, a man of leisure. Whiskey, tequila, lime, simple syrup, bitters. Yeah, okay. These people think whiskey and tequila go fine together. And I'll just add some lime and this stuff. Yeah. Well, I've got a lime wedge as well. I've got some frozen lime wedges that are on sale. So I might put that in the shaky. That seems fair. This is called a man of leisure. I'm going to do a version. of a well, he's 10 whiskey tequila. This is asking me a bunch of questions. What? No. Oh, fucking website that insists you put a fucking email address in before you use it. Fuck off. The 1990s wanted their shitty fucking website design back. Oh yeah, Dr. Brown, of course the new version of work choice is going to happen. The Libs have always wanted to absolutely destroy industrial relations, take all rights away from workers. If they're not stopped, what the Australian workforce has to look forward to is no penalty rates ever, reductions in sick pay and holiday pay, people being forced onto contract, and 0-hour contracts as well. The fact that and this is actual. This is not hyperbole. This is actual policy they've wanted to introduce in the past, and they will reintroduce, forcing people onto contract, and the boss being able to say that they only want you to come in for an hour, and if you refuse, they can fire you. So however far you have to travel to work. So for most people, traveling to work for 1 hour would cost you more than you will make from it, but the boss will have the power to fire you if you. And also, you could be in for like an 8-hour shift, and the boss will have the power to just say, "Oh, I don't think we're that busy. I'm sending you home and only paying you for an hour." And the other outrageous one they want to introduce is, particularly for people who work in hospitality, the boss being able to pay you in kind rather than in cash. So you go in to your shitty hospitality job, and the boss gets to say, "Yeah, your pay for tonight is this family pizza that we'd sell for $25, and that's how much you get for 2 hours work." Um, uh, they are going to provoke such extreme industrial reactions, protests in the street, um, and the first people targeted are going to be the people who are already the most vulnerable. That's the way it always works. It always works that way, targeting the people who are already in the weakest position. Well, you can look forward to lots of fucking angry videos from me when they start pushing shit like this. I'll be going to town. Safi, you've never heard of work choices. That was very anti-union, anti-worker industrial policy the Conservatives wanted to push in Australia. But they're so blinded by their own ideology, they were unaware of the fact their policy radically alienated well over half the population. And of the others who weren't radically alienated, half of them were going, "That seems a bit much." But they were basically radicalizing lots of people. Yeah, so that's what I was explaining. That was some of the work choices things. It was basically no penalty rates, reducing all benefits like sick pay and holiday pay, forcing people onto contracts, basically banning unions, giving workers no rights whatsoever. Fucking evil shit. Okay, I'm going to make the anti-Trump American cocktail because it's going to have tequila in it. Now this. Oh, okay. Where's my cocktail shaker? I don't know where my cocktail shaker is. I'm slightly at a loss as to where my cocktail shaker is. Where is it? It's here. Right, so we'll put that mess in there. Now, what else are we putting in? We got America. We've got this. So this is the anti-Trump 4th of July, recognizing Mexican heritage in the US. We'll put some tequila in too. Oh my God, I've got too many things here. I need to put stuff away. Put stuff away, you idiot. Put that away. Put that away. I want that. Put that away. Okay, I've got a bit more room now. Oh, I want to put this away. Put that up there. Okay. Right, I think I've got everything I want now. This is the lime. I need a big block of ice. Icy, icy, ice. For my glass. Get the special angry jumbo size blocks of ice. Love my big ice cubes. Okay. That one. Okay. Oh, right. So I put that in there. I'm going to call, well, this is based on a cocktail called the Gentleman of Leisure. It has other stuff in it too. This is for the 4th of July. I am making a cocktail that I christen the American Melting Pot. So it's got bourbon for the United States, tequila for the neighbors to the south, but it also had a German brandy, a Spanish absinthe, and a Russian vodka, just reflecting the diaspora that made up America, basically. So there you go. There's a little bit of commentary in my cocktail. This cocktail is called the American Melting Pot. Where's the lime come from? Okay, here. Product of does not contain alcohol. Yes, I know that. It's probably Australian. Yes, so for Russian vodka for the Russian interference in the election. Felix, you know, as an anti-Trump cocktail, I won't pee in it because that would turn him on. He'd like that. Safa, will Australia get rid of the Liberals if they do work choices again? Based on history, the Liberals get a rush of blood and try and reintroduce their incredibly draconian industrial relations policy. They'll get a massive backlash. Jewel, do you like the American Melting Pot? There you go. It's a nice colour, very amber colour. So what's that line from one of the anthem, Amber Waves of Grain? I feel it's the English or Bailey's for the Irish. Well, I'm not going to put everything. You know, I have some Irish whiskey up there, but I think Jewel, lime's an enabler like Nancy Pelosi. Dr. Obama, one of Bowen's supporters says Albo's like Kim Beazley. What does that mean? Just lose a couple of elections? Okay, Safa, from my political leanings, the capital L Liberals are the majority Conservative Party in Australia, and the ALP are the centrists, centre-left. They were born out of the trade union movement, but they're careerist politicians now. But yeah, the government's either going to be formed by a Conservative coalition, the Liberal Party, who are like the city Conservatives, and oh, I thought you know. Okay, yeah, the Liberals always form a coalition with the Country Bumpkins, the Nationals, the even more conservative Country Party, and the ALP has never had a coalition in government. They have formed a minority government, but they've never actually been a coalition. Liberal Party has never won power. The Liberal Party, then this is something when sometimes when you say this to people, it blows their mind, but it's true. The Liberal Party have never won power in their own right, not once, not even close, actually. They've always needed a coalition with the country conservatives. So far, are Liberals more jerks? In my opinion, yes. They're the party of rich people. Not that Labor doesn't favour rich people, but there's at least a facade of being progressive with Labor. Right, well, I'm going to try the American melting pot. Well, that's pretty good, actually. That's got a lot of flavours. That has a lot of flavours in there. Yeah, can still taste a bit of the bourbon. Can't really taste the tequila actually, which is interesting. This is a nice tequila, by the by. I tend to get silver or white tequilas because I can put flavoring stuff in there and color them. And you still get the flavor if you put the stuff in the more traditionally colored tequila, but the color doesn't come through as well. And I like the color. But yeah, this one, Espolon, this one's pretty good. It's like, yeah, it's like not as smoky as mezcal, but you definitely got that smokiness in there. Neat bottle too, actually. I quite like because it's a reusable bottle. It has a cork in the top. I quite like the bottle that one comes in. So, for my personal opinion, it's not so much that the libs go after poor people, but they do demonize them, treat them, like they're the scum of the earth. The only reason they're poor is because they're lazy and evil. But they egregiously favor people who are already very wealthy and powerful, like giving tax cuts to the people who already have the most, while cutting benefits to the most desperate and needy people in the country. Um, so I guess it all depends on your point of view. If you believe what I consider to be bullshit about it, you can just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Everyone needs to be. You need to go. You give people welfare, they get lazy. I don't agree at all. I think the only way people get rich is by exploiting other people or being an active part of an exploitative system. And I think rich people get away with murder, basically. So that's my little radical view. So I think definitely you can taste the bourbon, and the other stuff is kind of blended. Like I only put a teeny bit of absinthe in there, and that tends to cut the sweetness of some other things. But yeah, speaking of the world thing, I've got agave, the sweetener I use for it's a sugar syrup, is agave syrup that I got from Costco. Uh, which I assume this is going to be Mexican. So made. Doesn't even say where it comes from. USDA organic. Local humidors harvest the hearts, the pinas, of fresh blue agave plants at perfect point of ripeness. The result is their signature organic blue agave. Use it to sweeten your favorite food, sauce, dessert, or drink. It you'll see a lot. Oh yeah, agave packed in the USA, agave from Mexico. So it is Mexican agave. Um, so it was a very multicultural drink. Lime juice is probably Australian. tropical anyway, somewhere from here in the Pacific, I'd imagine. So yes, the American melting pot, mm, reflecting just a little bit of the diversity of the peoples who have made up modern America. There's shout outs for, US and Mexico and Russia and Spain and Germany, and probably Australia with the lime juice. Safra, the liberal fascists, no. Um, they're just they're just conservative, and worshippers of capitalism, basically. Believe what I consider to be an easily demonstrable lie that, the market will sort out everything. If you just give people the freedom to pursue their dreams, everything will be fine. So I personally consider that to be horseshit. And I think there's a lot of evidence to back me up and not a lot of evidence to back them up. Um, People haven't gotten rich by going out and giving it a go. People have gotten rich by exploiting other people. That's the way the market works, and it's biased in favor of people who are already powerful. So I personally, with my white trash background, have a problem with that because the system is not geared up to favor me or my family. So yeah. So as you raise a good point, it's basically a pyramid plan. The idea that uh, capitalism will lift everyone up. No, the way, particularly, I like some people call it crony capitalism, corporatism, or whatever. Uh, the system's been designed to screw as much revenue as possible out of people at the bottom of the pyramid and funnel it all up to the people at the top of the pyramid. And by definition, if the success of the few at the top relies on exploitation of masses of people at the bottom, then everyone doesn't stand a chance because you stop getting that level of reward if you stop the exploitation. So it's interesting, Dr. Palmer. I didn't hear that Zali Steggall was considering joining the Liberal Party. I did not hear that. Corey Bernardi retiring. I didn't hear that. God, he's garbage. I hate that guy so much. Peter, see, that's a fair thing. A lot of people, if two choices are placed in front of them, even if you change you said the first one, you'll be rich, but there'll be a large percentage who'll be very poor. And choice two is no one will be very rich, but everyone will be at least comfortable. And humans saying, I want option two. If you change option one a little bit to be, there is a possibility that you will be very rich, but that will require a massively disproportionate number of people to be in dire poverty. And the second one is nobody will be super rich, but everyone will at least be secure and comfortable. Far too many people go, no, I want to be really rich. It's like there's a quote attributed to the American writer John Steinbeck, who was a socialist. It says the reason socialism never caught on in America is because the working poor in America don't regard themselves as poor. They regard themselves as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. It's like they've been sold the lie of, if we keep this incredibly imbalanced system in place, you could be on the winning team one day. You're not going to be. You are not going to be. I mean, again, you just look at actual history and the actual statistics of it. People saying anyone can make it in capitalism. You go, no, they can't. And in fact, a million people who aren't making it now but believe in capitalism, if I said to each and every one of them, you are never going to make it, it's never going to work for you, I will be correct at least 999,999 times. One of them might be the one who makes it, but I'm comfortable in saying to people who are under the heel of the capitalist system, you'll never get out from under, because in almost every case, I'll be right. But people just, they latch onto this, oh, but someone, that one, I might win a lottery. I might win the lottery. Yeah, I could win the lottery. No, you won't. Again, line up a million people who buy lottery tickets, and I'll tell each and every one of them, you are never going to win the lottery jackpot. And I'll almost definitely be right with at least 999,999 of them. Uh, it's that's the statistics. Oh yeah, proper thing is, you see, yes, even people who make it are fucking people over. Yes, but they don't care. They blind themselves to the level of exploitation is required to achieve. But yes, yes, sure. The rich get richer at the expense of the working class. I always love the line from the old uh, Midnight Oil song. Read about it. The rich get richer, the poor get the picture. It's just like, oh, wait, it's not changing for us, is it? No. Oh god damn. That's a bit much. Yep, another mysterious hood. See, there's not even a reflection tonight, so unless you're going over, oh, you're going over to get a Pepsi or something. A mysterious hooded figure comes into the kitchen. I guess I could do these from the room. For anyone who has watched the live streams I've recorded for like a podcasty thing with Eva the last couple of weeks, I do those in a different room because it's in the middle of the day, or it has been in the middle of the day, and the kitchen's busier in the middle of the day than I could do these in the spare room, junk room, office, uh, and then no one would come in, I guess. But yes, um, yeah, I don't know when. What formed my politics? I mean, like, I grew up in country town, like really racist, homophobic mentality around me, and I was definitely growing up. I was definitely um, racist and homophobic. Again, not in a Ku Klux Klan manner. The way the people who congratulate themselves of, well, I've never actually lynched a black person, and I've never joined the Klan, so I can't be that bad. No, I'm very aware of how racist I was, and I had, Aboriginal friends. These guys I hang out. I had no problem hanging out with Aboriginal guys and Aboriginal girls I went to school with. Uh, but huge sort of racist preconceptions going, and they didn't come from nowhere. They were fed to me. I was told my dad was super racist, um, uh, and probably really homophobic as well. And I was definitely, the worst thing you could call someone at school was gay. I was definitely. I know. I just think it started to change when I got out of the small town and met different and diverse people, and you just start to go, oh, that shit that I used to say and do that I thought was okay because I wasn't really mean is not cool because I'm really being shit to people who don't deserve it. Um, so, but yeah, my parents never really talked about politics. I know my mum voted Labor. Not sure who my dad voted for. He ran his own business, so he probably voted for the Liberal Party. Um, Uh, and I don't know. I think it probably started when I was exactly when you hear these conservative talking heads talk about universities or hotbeds of this radical socialism. This is certainly when I got exposed to more radical politics. Um, but it's kind of not till you get out of it that you realize that the radical racism and homophobia and bigotry is so ingrained in the culture in some areas. When you're in the middle of it, you don't really realize, but then you get out of it and it's like, holy fuck, these people just come up with weird, racist, bigoted conspiracies about everything. It's like everything's a fucking conspiracy. Everyone's out to get them. It's wild. Jewel, I agree with you. Fear is central to it. And again, you look at the conservative media outlets, and beyond their bigotry, what they push all the time is fear. Fear of the other, fear of what's going to, everything you have is going to be taken away. And about, for most decent humans, the worst thing you can imagine is someone you care about being hurt, your family or people close to you being taken away. That's the worst thing you can imagine. So when you get fed a diet of fear and go, everything that you think is important is under threat. It becomes second nature and you don't even realize the degree to which you're being paranoid because you're just bathing in paranoid conspiracies the whole time. It's absolutely wild. Yeah, probably. I agree with you. Being that scared all the time must be exhausting. Well put, Fox. As Master Yoda said, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. That's the question of our age, Feeler and Sealer. Are you like the tiki torch wielding white supremacists in the US who chanted the Jews will not replace us? Or are you more once you go black, you'll never go back? That's the two sides. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. Those are the only two sides. So yeah. Oh wow! So your dad read the Bible and Rush Limbaugh books on the shitter every day. Yeah, that's gonna fuck your head up. That is gonna fuck your head up. Again, conspiracies are so strange, and the need to say stuff that's so obviously not true really does my head in. It's like the saying that goes along the lines of the trouble with the world is fools are always sure about themselves and wise people are full of doubt. It's like the more you know something, the more you're like, okay, there could be stuff I don't know. So it's like I was saying earlier with this thing, the complete lie about the quick drying cement in the milkshakes in Portland. The conservative outlets were just screaming this absolute lie. They put quick drying cement in. And the less extreme outlets were saying, well, there's no evidence that this is true. It's like they can't bring themselves to say that is a stupid, ridiculous fucking lie. You are just making that shit up. What the fuck is wrong with you? They can't bring themselves to have the same level of stridence and just go, no, that's a fucking lie. You're lying. That is bullshit. Why are you saying something that's such fucking bullshit? Um, they use far more cautious language and say, there is no evidence this is true. It's like when people want to say over and over to the media, just say Trump is lying. And sometimes they do. And sometimes they couch it a little bit in, there is no evidence to support his assertion, or that's an untruth or whatever. But it's just like, what the fuck? Hey, Noog, how's it going? We're basically now we're getting into uh, oh my god, what's that syndrome those two researchers found? There's basically the less people know, the more sure they are of it. It's oh my god, it's right. I bet someone knows it. Um, it's it is this basic thing of the more educated someone is, the more likely they are to be more careful in their language. Say, look, this is what the evidence tells us. There could be something else going on, but the evidence supports this hypothesis. Whereas really ignorant people go, climate change isn't real. I keep wanting, it's two names, and Higgs boson has got stuck in my mind, and it's not Higgs boson. It's not the Higgs boson syndrome. Dunning-Kruger, that's what it is. I don't know if anyone else was going to come up with it, but I just remember two researchers, Dunning and Kruger, they showed that, Jewel, you knew it, yeah. They showed that the more ignorant someone is, the more likely they are to have extreme beliefs and to really hold on to those extreme beliefs. And they're more likely to overestimate their competence. Really competent people are more likely to have doubts and say, um, well, uh, I'm not sure that I'm on top of everything, but it's like the less qualified someone is, the more sure they are of themselves. Um, the Carl Gon effect. I just love how much that asshole failed and how he actually destroyed UKIP, which was hilarious. It's and of course the tipping point with him killing UKIP was when actually fucking Nigel Farage said, I'm not having anything to do with a party that'll let this fucking piece of shit in, and he started the Brexit Party, which basically took all the votes from UKIP, and UKIP ended up with nothing. Look, Proper Wolfie, you're right that if we had a better educational system that focused more on critical thinking and logic, but again, you get, not to sound too much like a conspiracy theorist, you get conservative people who argue really aggressively against teaching people to think. Just teach them to read and write. Teach them mathematics. Don't get political, because it's basically the more you teach people critical thinking, the less likely they are to get suckered in by this political bullshit. Like, and I did see someone say that, your mum said that all politicians lie. To a degree, all politicians lie. To a degree, all politicians are after power. Um, on some level, most politicians have an idea, this will be better either for the majority or for the right sort of people if I run the country like this. The majority of politicians at some level think about other people. I think a huge chunk of them, their thinking is terribly flawed, or in some cases, straight up evil. Um, uh, it's actually only a tiny minority of politicians that their sole motivation is self gratification. I think all politicians have some measure of self gratification. Um, uh, but this is where, politics is not black and white. Politics is a question of opinion and perspective. Um, and whereas I think most politicians are working on the thinking of this sort of policy will help these people, whether it's most people or just who they think are the best people. Um, but yeah, I think a lot of them are just after power, and this is of any political persuasion. I'm not letting any political party off the hook with that. There's a certain degree of narcissism required to say, hey, you know who should run this joint? This guy. This guy is better than everyone else. This guy will get right what everyone else gets wrong. And that infects all politics, no matter what persuasion. So, for what percentage of Australia is multinational and therefore can't be MPs? I don't know. I would say probably about a third of Australia's population would be in trouble, or to run for parliament would have to undertake certain actions to ensure that they'd renounced any possible uh, what's the correct term? Um, dual citizenship. I think roughly a third of Australia's population, if they wanted to run for parliament, would have to take certain steps to renounce potential ties to other countries that could be perceived as being sort of dual citizenship. Oh, Julie, yeah, no. A decent chunk of politicians are psychopaths. A decent chunk of business leaders are psychopaths. Psychopaths aren't necessarily evil and don't necessarily do evil things. They just don't really value other people. And it's possible to do quite well in the world with psychopathic tendencies. I mean, in fact, it's when you look at the actual medical texts on psychopathic behavior and compare it to the behavior that's regarded as positive in male business leaders and male politicians. And I stress that because women get criticized for being too shrill or too bossy in ways men don't. But you look at the way medical texts describe psychopathic behavior and the traits that are regarded as favorable in male business leaders and male politicians, and there's a massive crossover. It's really close to the same. So, is Tony Abbott a psychopath? I think Tony Abbott exhibits some psychopathic and sociopathic tendencies. Uh, I'm in all seriousness, I think there are some issues going on with Tony Abbott. Uh, I think there's a whole bunch of events, behaviors, and statements Tony Abbott has made. And you look at it and go, there is shit going on there. There are issues. There are issues with Tony Abbott. All is not quite well in the top paddock with Tony Abbott, quite honestly. Phil and Sheila, pick our leaders by Princess Bride method, fencing, wrestling, and battles of wits to the death. Never go up against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Oh my God, I've got to watch that again. I love that movie so much, and it's a little while since I've watched it. It's definitely way up in my top five. Like my all-time favorites: Princess Bride, Withnell and I. God, probably Mad Max Fury Road. That's such a good movie. Um, what else would be in my top five? Let's do that. Let's go. Top. Oh, Jesus of Montreal. Um, and they're the three that are of very similar vintage, like 80s, early 90s vintage. Actually, I think they're all 80s. Is Withnell and I, Jesus of Montreal, and Princess Bride. Um, more recently, Mad Max Fury Road. Oh, fuck, I love that movie. Yes, look, I did see Stranger Things Series 3 is now available. I'll probably watch it this weekend. Binge it. Yeah, let's talk about entertainment. We've been heavy and whatnot. Let's talk entertainment. That's fun. Well, probably Blade Runner, good. Grand Budapest Hotel, I like it. Not my favorite. Memento, I like. Yes. Sarah, still haven't seen Alita. It hasn't shown up on any sort of streaming service, and I don't know why. Noog, have I seen Us? What is Us? I feel like oh, that's the what's his name's follow up from um Jordan. That's Jordan Peele's movie, isn't it? I haven't seen it yet. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Jordan Peele. I've got to see. I it's not Mrs. Angry's type of thing, so we never went out like on date night to see it. I'm waiting for it to show up on a streaming service. Get Out was a great film that worked on so many levels. And Get Out is one of those films that really rewards repeat viewings because you can really dive into it and say, oh, Christ, you see what was fucking happening there? Holy shit. I didn't pick that up the first time. Get Out rewards multiple viewings. Very good. And what else is good in entertainment? I just finished watching Happy season 2, which is on Netflix, which is really fucking bizarre and twisted. I watched an episode of Tuca and Bertie before I came on. It's a really trippy animated show created by one of the core people behind BoJack Horseman. Tucker and Birdie is good. It's very weird. Even compared to like BoJack Horseman, it's weird. Proper Wolfie, you love the old Hitchcock. Yeah, North by Northwest, I think is a very good Hitchcock film. God, I haven't seen Rear Window in forever. I'm sure I've seen it. Uh, oh, the Godzilla movie's good, Kaiju. I want to see it. Of course, someone with a username Kaiju would like Godzilla King of the Monsters. Let's see. I did see Chernobyl. Chernobyl's very good. Um, oh no, you like the old Phantom of the Apes with Charlton Heston? Oh my God, Proper Wolfie. I think for those who haven't seen it, The Shining is very good. I think Jack Nicholson overacts a bit, and I think what's her name who plays his wife? I was going to say Shelley Long, but that's not right. I think she grossly overacts. Basically, she's really Shelley Duvall. That's it. Thank you. Shelley Long was in Cheers. Shelley Duvall. She's good, but she like grossly overacts. But the opening sequence, the visuals of the way it's a helicopter shot that's following this car driving on a twisty mountain road. It's one of the most amazing visuals I've ever seen. Um, it's Kubrick knew how to create visuals, basically. So you were 400 kilometers from Chernobyl. Interestingly, I worked with a Russian guy years ago, and I ran into him just the other day. And he's my age or a bit younger. He looks really young, like he looks 30, but I think he's definitely well into his 40s. He looks very young though, Yevgeny. And we came onto the topic of Chernobyl, and he said he was living in Russia at the time that Chernobyl happened. He was in Minsk, I think. So I said, "Oh, okay. How real did it feel to you?" Because he'd watched. the Chernobyl series, and he thought it was very good. And he highlighted a couple of things. He's going, "Oh, they did this for fair thing," but he's going like, "Oh, basically, a lot of that stuff, like particularly how the party behaved, that was very Russia." Safa, I think he was living in Minsk. He told me, I think it was Minsk, and he said they were aware of it because they got warnings about radiation in Minsk. Proper Wolfie, you like where the buffalo roam? Holy shit! I watched that years ago. I don't remember it well enough to have an opinion on it, really. Fear and Loathing. You went on a 3-day bender and watched Fear and Loathing 5 times. I read the book more than I've watched the movie, the Johnny Depp movie. Bill and Celia, you saw Tron stoned. Wow. Uh, I saw. I've gone to the movies on acid twice, as in hallucinogen. Uh, Once was a really weird Nicolas Cage movie called Vampire's Kiss, and that's a movie that just is weird because the character Nicolas Cage plays has mental health issues, and he's imagining that he's been bitten by this sexy female vampire, and he thinks he's turning into a vampire, but he's just um, having mental health issues, basically. And I watched it on acid. And the other film I watched on acid was Dumb and Dumber. And for those who know that film, the bit where Jim Carrey doses Jeff Daniels with laxative because he's jealous of him, and there's this uncontrollable shitting scene because he's been really heavily dosed with laxatives, and it goes on for ages. And I swear to God, I actually fell out of, like, literally fell out of my chair laughing. I fell out of my chair and I was lying on the floor of the cinema laughing just because of the uncontrollable shitting scene. Kaiju, What We Do in the Shadows is very, very good. And the TV series. If you got to watch the movie What We Do in the Shadows, the spin-off TV series Wellington Paranormal, and the spin-off TV series What We Do in the Shadows. They are all fucking brilliant. They are so good. They're very, very, very funny. Jewel, you went Italian style to the movies, drank a lot of red wine. Oh my God. Saving Private Ryan drunk. I just rewatched that recently. You vomited olives by the end of the first scene, the Normandy landing. Yeah. Oh God, Safa, watch Nicolas Cage's worst movie. Jesus, that's a question for the ages. Actually, speaking of Nicolas Cage, that most recent weird arty slash, I don't know, it's very violent film that he did has just come on Foxtel, and I'm going to watch it this week. It's a name. It's not Ruby. Oh God, I've forgotten what it's called. It's a woman's name. Mandy. Thank you, Noog. Mandy. I'm going to watch Mandy this weekend. Safa, I reckon Con Air is a great movie. As a throwaway action movie. Again, I watched it again not long ago. It just came on and I watched most of it. I reckon Con Air is a great movie. Con Air is a lot of fun. It's very silly. You have to just go, well, it's silly. Yeah, and it has Steve Buscemi in it. Con Air is a good movie. Nicolas Cage has just done so many shitty films. The Wicker Man, the fucking, um, just there are so many of them. It's impossible to remember how many shitty films. And people forget Nicolas Cage grew up because he's Francis Ford Coppola's son, and he changed his name because he didn't want to ride on Daddy's coattails. Um, and he started off in art house films, like really out there art house films, and he eventually moved into mainstream action films. Oh yeah, probably Coen Brothers films. I do actually like Coen Brothers films. Big Lebowski is good. Fargo is very good. Um, but broadly, I like Coen Brothers films. Barton Fink, Blood Simple. Just broadly, I actually am a Coen Brothers fan. Probably The Rock. That is a good Nick Cage film. That is a good Nick Cage film, The Rock. It very much helps that Sean Connery is in it. But yeah, I mean, The Rock is just an action film, and it's really good. I love it. I love when people make big calls. Steve Buscemi was hotter than Brendan Fraser in Airheads. Fight me. Yep, I love it. I'm going to back you, even though young Brendan Fraser, is very hot. Um, but as soon as someone makes a big call, I just get on board with it. That's great. I love it. You just got to make a big call. Steve Buscemi, God, he's great. He's made so many good films. Yeah, it's basically if Steve Buscemi's in something, I'm going to watch. And in amongst all the films, like he did Boardwalk Empire as well, however many seasons that went for. You know, Steve Buscemi, if he's in it, I'm going to watch it, basically. Kaiju, no diss to Brendan Fraser, especially young Brendan Fraser was definitely hot. And he seems like a thoroughly decent person, and he fell out because he got sexually assaulted by a powerful Hollywood producer, and it fucked him up. And he went public with it in the last couple of years, and more fucking power to him because it's like when Terry Crews went public and said, no, this guy just fucking groped me because he was convinced he could get away with it. And as the thing, Proper Wolfie. Oh yeah, the Frozen Caveman, Encino Man, which I didn't get the name because I didn't know Encino was a place near Los Angeles. So I never knew what Encino Man was till I found out it's just a place near Los Angeles. That's right, Safa. Will Smith got offered the role of Neo. I think there are whole websites dedicated to who got offered roles but turned them down, and the movie ended up being really good, and you can't really imagine that person in the role. Oh yeah, Doom Patrol. Brendan Fraser's the robot in Doom Patrol, isn't he? I haven't seen. I don't think Doom Patrol's available yet, is it? But they in the series Titans, there was one or two episodes that centered on the Doom Patrol. And okay, there's the thing. I thought the Titans series, the gritty version of Teen Titans, I thought that was pretty good. I know a lot of people ragged on it, but I watched all of Titans and I thought it was pretty good, honestly. God, that was another noughties cartoon I liked, Teen Titans. I thought that was a pretty good cartoon. Yeah, fuck Batman. There's a big thing with, and that was also an interesting thing within Titans when Robin, Dick Grayson, decides to beat up some criminals. They're all terrified of Batman because that was the central thing of Batman with the criminals, that he was a source of terror to them. And Robin could beat people up, but they weren't scared of Robin. They were scared of Batman. But then the criminals, when Robin's beating them up, they basically go, "Where's Batman?" And Batman's not there. And then, so they're not scared, but then Robin kicks the shit out of all of them. That's when he goes, "Fuck Batman." Um, Look, Safa, it's going to be a matter of personal taste, but I thought the Titans series was quite good. And I'm quite keen for season 2 because they were giving really interesting backstories to the different Titans characters. And I'm quite keen to see where they go with it. Safra, are they making a Robin movie? I don't know. That's not something I've heard, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were at least exploring it. The Joker movie comes out later this year. That's either going to be good or terrible. Won't know till I see it. Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker, doing an origin film for Joker. Um, I'm not holding out a lot of hope for it, honestly. So hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised. Uh, might be good, might be terrible. Who knows? I did see that trailer for the new Midway movie film thing, and I have to admit that even though like I'm a raving lefty, anti-militarist, anti-state things, I like war movies. I am a hypocrite. I am a creature of contradictions. I do like war movies though, and yeah, I did see the trailer for the new Midway movie. It might be good. You gotta look at it. Yeah, you get some good ones. Like I liked Black Hawk, Black Hawk Down, Saving Private Ryan, We Were Soldiers. You get really terrible ones like the Michael Bay Pearl Harbor movie, which was fucking terrible. My favorite war movie, I on for all his flaws as a person, I do have a bit of a soft spot for the Mel Gibson film We Were Soldiers, set in the Vietnam War, just because of the structure of it. It's an incredibly well structured film. And that's the other thing. For all the failings Mel Gibson has as a person, he's capable of making incredibly well structured films. And I really like the movie We Were Soldiers. There's an Australian war movie coming out later this year, and I'm amazed it took this long, based on the Battle of Long Tan in Vietnam. And I will be very interested to see what that is like. Like, I was a huge fan of Peter Weir's film Gallipoli. Um, and then, like, someone finally made a movie about Kokoda, and it was fucking terrible because they were just being all wanky and stupid instead of just telling the fucking story. Single biggest problem with the Australian film industry, the number of films that get made by someone who's just wanting to be fucking clever and showy offy rather than just making something that an audience is going to enjoy watching. Rant over. But there are good comedies in particular. Australia does good comedies occasionally. Oh yeah, probably Flags of Our Fathers. Clint Eastwood, again, for all his failings as a person, Clint Eastwood makes very competent, well-structured films. Flags of Our Fathers is pretty intense. Oh my god, the one about the conscientious objector. Mel Gibson directed that, didn't he? Um, oh god, it's escaping me what it was called. It was like from about 2 years ago. It had Andrew Hacksaw Ridge. That was it. Thanks, Noog. That was a really well made film. That was a really well made film. Um, uh, really fucking intense. And again, the fact that it was real, the fact that it's based on true thing. Hacksaw Ridge is this guy who is a conscientious objector, and so they all call him a coward. He's going, I'm not a coward, but I won't kill anyone. And so he goes into an active combat unit in the Pacific as a medic. And like this is like in the invasion when they're in the stages of launching the invasion of Japanese territory. And it's fucking intense. And this guy, and this again is a completely real story, uh, refused to kill anyone, but he soon fucking established that it wasn't because of cowardice. Holy shit. Feeling silly. You liked Heartbreak Ridge. I've seen Heartbreak Ridge and I sort of vaguely remember it. Dual Band of Brothers. Fuck me, that's a good series. Because if you're half-assed with your history like me, you can get suckered into thinking, well, D-Day happened, the Normandy invasion, and then the good guys won. And the war went on for so much fucking longer after the Normandy invasion. And Band of Brothers follows Charlie Company, US division. So, of course, it's only telling one sliver of the story, but Charlie Company were involved in some incredibly important slivers of the story. And it's so well shot, and the performances are so good, and it's such an amazing fucking story. It's wild. Safa, oh my god, I would really love to see a very good film about the Russian experience of um, World War II, because um, that was so intense. I mean, like, there's one called Stalingrad that it kind of captured just how fucking horrific the Battle of Stalingrad was. Um, but no, I think what we need is a really good prestige TV series about Stalingrad, the Battle of Stalingrad. So, right now, that was when the Nazis finally got turned back, and because Stalin was in control, and the rule basically was, they've reached Stalingrad. That's the city that's got the boss's name on it. We don't give ground. It does not matter how many people die in the defense of Stalingrad. That's where we stop them. And by some estimates, the combination of civilian and military deaths, not casualties, deaths in Stalingrad top 1 million. And because it got into starvation, dying of exposure and disease, as well as the actual casualties of war. But Asafar, is it Volgograd now? Because it's changed its name so many times. Leningrad, Stalingrad, Volgograd. Um, so a prestige TV series that really explained just how fucking horrible the Battle of Stalingrad was, and how much Russian people sacrificed to turn back the Nazis, is absolutely fucking. That's it. St. Petersburg was another name it had. So we've had Leningrad, Stalingrad, St. Petersburg, Volgograd. Um, See, this is what I like. This is one of the many reasons I like live streams and chatting with people, getting people from all over the world, people with different areas of interest, and different people have different insights and different bits of information. Fucking awesome. But hey, getting back to entertainment, we did movies and TV. Music, what's your favorite music this year? I think my two favorite tracks this year, Leave Me Lonely by the Hilltop Hoods, and more recently, Life is Incredible by Briggs. I fucking love that track. Um, Really good if you haven't heard it. Check out. I'm really looking forward to Briggs's next album, because he hasn't put a solo album out for years. He released stuff with um, Trials under the name AB Original. Um, but I tell you what I really love, the amount of good quality uh, pop music, particularly female artists coming out. Because pop used to be a dirty word if you were like a hipster like me, but this is a thing I've really enjoyed, having YouTube music, getting generated playlists, and just with looking at the list, people like Montaigne, Amy Shark. Well, look at this, Benny. I've just auto-generated a playlist, and who else? Like Alex the Astronaut and G Flip, and there are so many good uh, pop songs being released by female artists, particularly in Australia. I'm very biased with Australian stuff. And one who I've gotten much more into, I used to think her stuff was a bit slick, um, but oh god, what's her what's her name? I'm blanking. Why am I blanking from my history? Who did I listen to? Thelma Plum. That's who I was thinking of. Thelma Plum. I used to think she was a little bit slick, and she is more produced than a lot of the others. But her recent stuff, like Better in Black and Clumsy Love and stuff, fucking great. Um, and I mean, I know she gets ragged a lot, but I reckon Billie Eilish is okay too. Um, it's just amazing, really good quality female pop music, particularly from Australia at the moment. And I have to admit, this is a real thing because, okay, I'm old. I like music from the 80s and 90s. And when I do 80s and 90s playlists, you get them off like YouTube Music and whatnot. It's music I really like, but it's incredibly heavily dominated by white males. And I don't say that as there because I like the music, but like women and non-white guys is like 1 in 10 on these tracks. But if and that's like 90s, 80s, 90s, and even noughties. But if I do with recent stuff, uh, the sort of indie playlists will have way more diversity. Like at least half the playlist will be someone who's not a white dude, basically, be a woman or person of color. Um, so uh, I think indie music is doing way better now than it has in the previous couple of decades. Tyrannical, you're right. I mean, rock and roll was stolen from black people. Every major music trend in the 20th century is stolen from black people. Jazz and blues and rock and roll and the Motown sound, which turned into pop and R&B and hip hop and rap and all these things. So yeah, um, but yeah, no, you're right. Bandcamp, you can get full on indie music on things like Bandcamp. Triple J Unearthed, for those who've never heard of it, is a service done by the Australian National Broadcasters Youth Network, Triple J. Uh, Triple J Unearthed is very good. Safa, I'm a huge hip hop fan, and I have to admit, mostly Australian hip hop. People like the Hilltop Hoods and Briggs and Trials and a few others. So yeah, I do have some auto-generated hip hop playlists, and particularly I am a some people from outside Australia think it's weird because they're not aware of how strong the Australian hip hop scene is. But if you're on any of the services that generate playlists, do an Aussie hip hop one because it's really good. Probably I've heard of Akala and Lou Key, British hip hop. Um, but yeah, and even 80s, because I was into post punk. You got stuff like ska, and although ska really came out as early as the 60s, and that was black music. Um, yeah, it all comes from Safa. I tend to buy my music in the past, but I got YouTube Premium. They offered me a deal like 3 months free or something. I mean, yeah, I'm fucking sick of ads on YouTube. I'll pay for YouTube Premium. And then the people I watch get a couple of cents when I watch their stuff. But then I found out that also gave me YouTube Music, which I didn't realize. So I do stream a lot from YouTube Music at the moment. What's fun is often when I'm in a retro mood, I think of what was the song I liked 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I just think of a song I liked and I look it up and I almost always find it and go, um, play that. And then it auto generates a short playlist based on that first one I selected. And then the YouTube music also has the option for a larger auto-generated playlist based on other stuff you've done. So I occasionally make a point of listening to something weird just to mix up my YouTube playlist. Uh, it's good. Stuff was punk 80s. Punk was 70s. Punk started 75, 76. By the 80s, you're in like the post-punk era and new wave. And time does go by. Speaking of time going by, it's after 10 o'clock. So the years go by, but also the hours go by. Um, and these hours have gone by because you people are so much fun to spend time with. Um, and I'm going to say good night at this point. So thank you, one and all, for your company. Hey, I hope you've had fun. Maybe you've had ideas for from things we've said about TV, movies, or music to get a hold of. I think we should do some more of that in live streams. Talk about entertainment and stuff we're doing. So thanks everyone for joining. I really enjoyed spending time with you tonight. I honestly, I could probably keep going for a couple of hours, but I have to go to work tomorrow. Look at it. I'm going to be responsible. I'm a grown up. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go to bed. Got to go to work tomorrow. Um, very likely that I'll have Aidsy over on the weekend. So we'll do either a live stream or a pre-recorded video or both. I will probably do another live stream with Eva on Sunday. So lots to look forward to. I'll try and do a TFU Friday. I didn't do Wang Fat Wednesday, but I did do a video on Monday. But you'll be seeing a lot more of me over the weekend. I hope you all look after yourselves. Really enjoyed time with you. But for now, it's goodbye. And I will say bye for now.